Right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the April Professional Staff Senate General Forum. I am Tim Trajankowski, Chair of UB's Professional Staff Senate, and I proudly represent UB in that role at SUNY-wide and planning events. As you all know, the current normal is new to us all. The officers of the Professional Staff Senate and our Executive Committee adopted temporary meeting and procedural rules for PSS Executive Committee meetings to be able to take place and votes placed virtually. Thus, please rest assured that the business of PSS is still taking place in an orderly and representative structured format. As well, you all received an email this week beginning the call for nominations for area senators. We will hold our elections in the month of May as per our bylaws. If you have questions about running for a Senate seat or getting involved in any of our worthwhile committees, please email me to discuss. With temporary executive committee meeting rules in place, we next look at our general meetings. For the year 2019-2020, we actually held the required 4 general membership meetings, yet we felt a true need to keep the general membership informed and engaged beyond our newsletters and committee offerings. For the near future, we will offer PSS general forums. Thus, we will keep our business and formal agenda items moving along within the executive committee meetings, and then we will offer informative general forums to share information and/or hear from important speakers as we continue to adapt and plan for our professional roles on campus during the pandemic crisis and beyond. Today, we start right at the top, and we will be welcoming UB President Satish Tripathi to our forum. Some housekeeping rules. With such a large Zoom group, you are all muted except for our guest speaker and I myself. If time permits, we will be able to ask President Tripathi some questions. Please type in your questions to the chat box on your Zoom screen. I will do my best to ask an array of questions that are submitted today to Dr. Tripathi. Now, let us turn to our guest speaker. Dr. Tripathi has really gone to extremes throughout the past year to make certain that UB professional staff are invited to sit on search committees and other very high-level panels when it relates to shared opinion gathering across our campus. In light of the recent pandemic, he has continued that type of leadership and has made certain that members of the professional staff are placed on all committees that gather to inform and influence the directions and next steps we will need to take. Dr. Tripathi, our goal was to invite you to our May general membership meeting and present you with our professional staff resolution, our Drive to 25, in which we were going to highlight to you and to the UB community the ways in which we plan to adopt, adapt, and support UB in your challenge to achieve a top 25 ranking. We're still going to deliver that resolution to you in the near future, but we will adapt the resolution to still achieve that goal under our new normal working conditions. So that is coming, President Tripathi, but we need to roll with the punches, so to speak. So again, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome President Satish Tripathi.
Thank you, Tim, and I want to thank you for your leadership for the Staff Senate. What I want to do today is really talk about UB's response to COVID-19 and also our planning as we move forward. Before I do that, I really want to thank the staff for your dedicated work during this very difficult time. I'll talk about what we went through and how much you have helped to achieve what we have achieved. Changing 4,000 courses online within a week, and then working with the students and the faculty and providing support. You have been really, really excellent in doing that work. So I want to thank you all for your work. And it's not easy to do it. You are at home, or you have other things that you have to worry about, but this has been really great. So in the first phase, I'm going to make it in 2 phases. The first phase really is what we have been doing this so far. And the second phase is what we are thinking about with all the uncertainty that exists, what might happen. I may not have answers to your questions with any full certainty, but nobody has those answers. So really we are all trying to figure out what's going to happen in the next couple of months and what form of education we'll have in the fall, when we're going to open. All of those are what Tim talked about. We're working on with the committees, and many of you are involved, and I want to thank you for that as well. So the UB has been very proactive and took a strategic approach to our COVID-19 response to protect the well-being of our entire campus community and to prepare for disruption to the university operations in academic, research, as well as business. To that end, I put in place a comprehensive structure to ensure that we are ready for contingencies. This involved a COVID-19 advisory committee, which provided perspective and advice regarding campus readiness. UB's COVID-19 task force, which we formed in January, as soon as we knew that something is coming, to identify immediate areas of concern related to readiness. So we really have been working since end of January on this issue. In addition, I activated several university operations working group, again, sometime in February, some in early March. These included academic working group, the research working group, student life working group, operations continuity working group, and also activated an incident management group to take a global view of our entire university. These committees and working groups are all led by members of my cabinet. What we are able to accomplish so far, of course, as I told you, successfully transitioned to remote learning. Approximately 4,000 courses are 99% of all classes in less than 10 days. That was really remarkable. I still feel this was something that most of us didn't expect that we would be able to do, but we did very well. Accomplished by a tremendous effort, of course, of UB faculty and staff who have been the innovators and drivers of this remarkable transition. As you know, the UB research labs are closed for activities except for essential research and research related to COVID-19. Non-essential research, I mean, there's nothing non-essential actually, but other research and scholarship that don't require on-campus facilities are going on, but those that require on-campus facilities are paused. There were 8,000 students living on campus. Right now, there are approximately a little more than 1,200 on the campus. The students who remain on the campus either cannot go home for various reasons, or UB facility is their permanent home. We continue to accommodate these students, and we have a very comprehensive plan in place to monitor student health in the resident hall and make sure that they are following the guidelines for social distancing and hygiene. And currently, there are no known cases among the students in the resident hall. Nobody is in quarantine, or there is no case in the residence hall right now. Again, I'm really proud of how the entire UB community has responded to this very difficult public health crisis and its impact on the university. And I've seen many examples of the resilience and compassion of UB people over the past several weeks. In the way our faculty work night and day to transition their courses to distance learning, in the way our researchers are collaborating to better understand the virus and develop new treatments, in the way our staff continue to work diligently from their homes, getting so much done to keep our university moving forward, in the way our faculty, physicians, and nurses work tirelessly on the front lines of this crisis, and how everyone together is focused on helping our students adapt, manage stress, and continue their studies and succeed. All of these efforts speak volumes about the heart of UB, and it makes me very, very proud. So there were some challenges, of course, in this process in the last few weeks. There were challenges with respect to students, the clinical education environment. As you know, UB has 6 health-related professional schools. That includes social work as well. Challenging in terms of having students in these schools meet their clinical requirement necessary to graduation and progress towards degree. I mean, this is really a major challenge. Many of our students had to be in clinical setting. There were not enough PPEs, and the hospitals were not taking them, and there were a lot of issues whether we will be able to graduate the students on time. And we have solved those. Every student who was en route to graduation this semester will be graduating. In research domain, faculty research has, to a large degree, come to a halt because faculty and doctoral students are not able to physically be in the labs. It also has been challenging for our PhD students who are conducting their dissertation research. Some of them have field work to do, and they just can't do the field work. Student graduates and undergraduate, they come to our campus for residential experience, in-place experience, and they are not getting that. And for our students, the degree to which they are feeling disconnected from the campus and challenged by taking all their courses in an online medium. We have been doing surveys and trying to figure out how they're learning. As we have progressed from week 1 to week 4, week 5, many of the undergraduates are finding it more challenging to be online. Our graduate students have adopted better actually than the undergraduates, but again, I mean, they are finding it harder. It's also the discipline of study is different. Some of our students have issues with respect to the connectivity with the internet, places to study in the house. Many of us also feel, if you work from home, there are other things that you have to worry about, and they might be at home with multiple other siblings and others and not have enough private place to study. So that's again really, our students are missing the many extracurricular experiences that enrich their college experience. Simply stated, and many students have told me this, our students are missing being on campus, and we miss our students very much. As you know, athletics is on hold. It is difficult for our student athletes and the financial viability of our athletics department. We also know that everyone, faculty, staff, and students are feeling stressed and anxious about being socially isolated and concerned about the health and safety of family and friends, and from dealing with so much uncertainty in their personal and professional lives. We're all going through this process actually, and that's really definitely a concern for all of us. In addition, of course, UB has been responding to COVID-19 with our physicians, our medical school residency students. They have been on the front lines in the clinical environment, and the nurses, they have been on the front line in the clinical environment and treating patients with COVID-19. From a research perspective, all the research has been curtailed to a very large degree. Our faculty are still doing research in clinical trials, especially related to fighting COVID-19. Drug trial partnership with Roswell Park to treat critically ill COVID-19 patients. Study using antibodies from recovered COVID-19 patients to treat and speed recovery of current COVID-19 patients. Providing support to local labs to help speed up COVID-19 testing. Providing modeling on the spread of the virus to the country. From a community standpoint, students and residents from the Jacobs School are delivering meals to food insecure children in the Buffalo Public School District. And of course, yesterday we announced some of the research in my own home department, computer science, and the pocket tracker, which will be helpful in tracking and warning people whether they are visiting a place where somebody with the COVID-19 positive has visited recently. So some of those things might be useful as we open the campus to really have this kind of facilities available. So that's what we have been doing in the first phase. As I told my assistant Tracy in the first week before the break, that I was talking on Friday, and I said last week on Wednesday when I was doing this, she said, no, it was this week Wednesday. So really, I mean, things have been, every day has been a very, very long day. In fact, looks like a week. But I really, again, want to thank you all for your hard work, that our students are getting the education and they'll be graduating and making progress towards the degree. And that's why we are here for. I mean, we are here for our students, and we have to make sure that they get the education, they graduate. So now let's talk about the phase two. While phase one elements continue, UB continues to plan for the challenges ahead. To that end, we are creating a forward-thinking planning structure, which includes COVID-19 Campus Planning Committee, which will be informed by 5 subcommittees. You have seen Provost sent out a message, and he sent out, if you clicked on his message and went to the PowerPoint presentation, Scott really did a fantastic job explaining the different subcommittees. Of course, the first subcommittee is academic continuity, retention, and completion. This includes, of course, undergraduates, graduates, and professional education. And these are different subcommittees that will work. Faculty, graduate, and professional research. So this is really research. There's graduate students who not only get their education with respect to classroom, but they also need to continue their research, PhD students and professional research. A student experience and wellness committee, faculty and staff committee that we know that the wellness is important to students, but really my feeling is that everybody needs, we need to worry about the wellness of our faculty and staff, and there's a subcommittee to look at that as well. And of course, the University Operations Committee. The Planning Committee and the Strategic Finance Management Advisory Group will make recommendation to the executive leadership. These committees are representative of our entire institution. The members of our professional staff are on all of the committees, including, of course, Tim is part of the Campus Planning Committee. That really is the committee that has the coordinating structure for all the subcommittees. The goal of these committees is to plan for the fall 2020 and beyond in face of COVID-19, with the view that first and foremost, we ensure the health and safety of our students, faculty, and staff. And the second, we maintain our reputation as a premier public research university and as a member of AAU. In these challenging times, we must continue to provide our students with exceptional education and must continue to conduct impactful research. And undergirding all of that, we must ensure that our university is on a strong financial footing today and for tomorrow. Not unlike every campus across SUNY and every campus across the nation, we are dealing with an uncertain future and questions abound. Fall 2020, will we be place-based institution? Will we be conducting the semester in a virtual setting, or will we be somewhere in between? You probably have seen a lot of different messages in Chronicle, if you see, and other newspapers. Some institutions saying will be open, but if you read the message, they still have escape clause. We also want to be open, but we have to, as I said, we've got a couple of principles there, and we have to be careful how we open. And this is exactly what we want to learn from the committees, from our health professionals, and of course, at the end of the day, from SUNY and governor's directions and local ED health department. But we are all looking at all those options. About enrollment, how would the enrollment be impacted? Domestic, international, student mix? What is the economic forecast? Will family have the resources to spend on education? Will our international students have the ability to travel, get their visa, and the resources to come to US for their studies? I have no answer to these questions to a very accurate degree. We all can do guesses and estimates. Will there be a reoccurrence of COVID-19? How will that disrupt campus operation? What will be the impact of the economic downturn on the state budget? We already have seen that the state budget is $16 billion in short, and there have been, state has put out a hiring freeze. And of course, the SUNY has asked for scenarios up to 20% cut. What would one do with those kinds of cuts? We already have been working in a financially stressed environment, and COVID-19 is compounding those stressors. collective bargaining increase with no state relief, low tuition compared to our peers, flat state budget for more than a decade. The other question, I'm just asking questions, I don't have answers to many of these, and that's where we want to work. These are our operating parameters. These are our boundary conditions that we will be working under. The other question really is, when will our research enterprise be able to continue? A lot of the research is done through a sponsored program where we get money from the federal government through different agencies, or some research from industry. And we have deliverables. We have to do certain research. If we close the research, how can we really do the delivery? So we want to make sure that if you open the research, it's safe to open. Nationally, many of the universities actually, first thing they're opening are the research labs, because they are a lot more monitored. You can see who's coming, who's going, and you can do better social distancing. So this would be something that we have a committee for that actually to look at when we can open. So faculty members who have to deliver research can start to do that. PhD students who have to complete their degrees can finish those, postdocs can do their work and so on. And research is our major mission in addition to education. So we need to really continue to do the research. The other part really is, the economic downturn. How will that impact the philanthropic goals that we have? We may have to see where our campaign is going. Fortunately, we are very close to our initial campaign, but still it might impact the campaign. So within the structure that I described, we will, as an AAU university, be working to maintain our place as a premier public research university with intention to continue pursuing our strategic goal so we can achieve our top 25 ambition. And Tim, I look forward to getting the resolution from you. And I know this is all going to be challenging, but this is our goal and we'll continue to do that. So from a national point of view, every college and university president is taking a look at their budget, knowing finances are going to be very tight and planning for a physical downturn. I had two meetings last week, one with the AAU presidents. This was, again, a Zoom meeting like this. We had, in fact, breakout sessions as well in the Zoom meeting, and one was with APLU presidents. So one with about 60 presidents and the other one with about 120. And what I talked about today are exactly the same issue that everybody is talking about. Clearly, from a state perspective, we are looking at budget deficit, as I talked about. We might be overall, and this is again nationally, people are looking at enrollment deficit. Students are talking about not coming to college if it's going to be online. Parents are talking about not sending them if it's going to be online. So we are preparing. There might be many of the students are trying to stay local, and parents are not sending them elsewhere. And all of that is really unknown. And modeling that, no matter how good a predictive model we might have, is really not very easy to do. So combine all this, we're looking at impact on our campus operations, delivery of our academic programs, the research we're able to conduct on our campuses, as well as the extracurriculum activities. So, and as I said, we are looking at different scenarios, and we will be informed by science and data and our own people. And there are more than 100 people on various committees, and they are representative of different sectors, and they have knowledge and they have expertise to tell us how to proceed, what to do. So with that, I want to thank you again for your effort and what you do. And I'll be happy to answer as many questions, Tim, as you have. And in many cases, I may not be able to answer your questions because I have no answers.
All right, well, thank you, Dr. Tripathi. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We appreciate your words, and we appreciate the situation that we all find ourselves in also. The chat room is filling up with questions, so I will just sort of go through and triage these as best I can.
Sure.
And I'm also watching the clock for you. I know you have to be gone by 3:45, so I'll let you know.
4 o'clock is okay. I'm okay.
Oh, excellent. Okay, great. So first, there's many questions about the testing for COVID-19. Do you feel there might be a requirement that to return to campus, professional staff, faculty, maybe even students need to get tested? Might that be provided by the county or by UB?
One of the options definitely to consider, and this is happening at many campuses, and we have talked about this as well. I mean, depending on how accurate and how point of whatever, there's a name for it that you can test right away, how accurate that test is, point of place or something called the testing, and can be done quickly. I think one option we have to consider that everyone is tested. And it's for our own health, but also for others. And I don't know how much it's going to cost, and whether we can do it, because we're talking about almost 40,000 people to the campus. So one option could be, and many campuses are thinking. We have talked about this as well. We have talked to our public health dean as well. And in fact. There might be even funding available. We explore everything, but it might be that everyone is tested, and then if somebody has a symptom, then you test again and see and do the distance tracing or whatever you have available. That's definitely a model, and we also want that model to be considered. And this might be a model that many campuses open with. Although, if you read if you saw the op-ed piece by the Brown president, she wrote about why campuses should open. It has gotten a lot of criticism, though. If you read by others, and they're saying how the campuses are petri dish, all kinds of information. But really, I think in any form, if there would be some form of testing in the fall, if we open in whatever form we open. And again, I can't really. Things change day to day or week to week, so I can't really predict. And that's why we can't really make a decision today. But definitely, I think that's one of the options.
Right. And then we did see, I know there was a message from HR that the state has expanded sort of a sick day credit leave, that if you have to take off time from work, either to quarantine or because you are infected yourself, they've given like that 14-day window as well. So this might be something we consider in the future if an area has an outbreak, that maybe some people are going to have to take some time away from work. With that said, the question coming in is, do you foresee the ability to have sort of a hybrid model of working where people work both from home and on campus in the upcoming semesters?
Definitely all options are really open. I mean, it's the committees to think about options. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's, there might be people whose health is compromised, and they might have to really still both faculty and staff, and maybe some students. So really, we have to think about that as well. How do we accommodate people who have a lot more chance of health problem? So we have to really think about all of that. I mean, these are the issues that hopefully we'll get some resolution on. But yes, Tim, I mean, that's an option, as long as we are able to provide the education that the students want, the research support and all that, one thing that has happened is quickly is now there was a lot of opposition on teaching online by many people. And all of a sudden, everybody's teaching, not necessarily the best teaching that we can do, but they're doing a great job. And actually this semester was probably easier because half of the semester they had in-person teaching. So they knew the students. And the students were able to really relate to the professors. But if it's totally online, that's what I'm talking about. Students don't want to, 18-year-old don't want to come to this online teaching.
Right.
But yeah.
All right. One of the, big, I think we're all to a person are very thankful that we have our jobs and that we are being able to work remotely. But there's a fear going forward about possible loss of jobs or need to cut jobs. Is there anything on your horizon right now as far as job protections or maybe even job cuts on campus?
These are not, Tim, the campus level decisions. As you know, these decisions would be made at the state level.
Very good. Thank you. Also, since we are a part of SUNY, do you have any feel yet if some SUNYs may be full open, some may be online, and what that might mean to the students out there? You know, if I really want to go to school in person, I might go to Binghamton because they're open. Or if I really don't want to go to school in person, I might go to UB because, you know, maybe we're hypothetically online. Do you think there'll be one size fits all for SUNY?
You know, probably not. But there would be some overarching guidelines from the state and from SUNY. So under those models, there might be different submodels between, you know, among the SUNY campuses. And if you think about campuses on Long Island, they might take much longer to really completely have the campus open. A campus somewhere else might have easier time. If you think about even Binghamton, of course, they are away from everywhere, but most of their students are coming from the city. And whether the parents are willing to send the students. So there are a lot more variables than just the opening or not opening, actually.
Right. One of the questions coming in, is there a timeline for an announcement for what will look like for the fall semester?
I wish I had a time. I really wish, you know, so if I had to make a decision today, I'll say it would be online. But the students may not show up here. We can make our decision, but students will not show up. We need certainty, I know. I mean, I need certainty, but we don't have that kind of certainty. And that's why the more we wait, the more we plan. We will plan for all eventuality, but we should not make a decision till we really, really have to make a decision. And that's why I don't have really a deadline. I know it probably won't be in May.
Okay, probably won't be in May. One of our professionals writes in, they know that the deadline for admission deposits was extended from May 1st to June 1st. Do you have an idea of what the enrollment picture looks like right now for the fall?
So and that June 1st is almost nationwide, except for some very few selected universities. I think if I'm last week or maybe earlier this week, we were, you know, let me tell you, the deposit doesn't mean much anyway. People would change their mind. This year is a very special year. So deposit is only saying that people have some deposit in January, you know, because we get early admissions going on all the time. I think we are tracking with what we want to be, but I have no trust on those numbers really right now.
Understood. My wife is actually a high school counselor, and she's, you know, very much aware that students they have more options than ever and more decisions to make as well.
And in some sense, they don't have many options. You know, they might think they have options. In some sense, if they want to go to college, they want to go to college.
Right.
And they're not really as many options for the kind of education they want if they really want to come here. But they may not go to college. That's the other part. They might take a year off and not go to a college. So, but at the same time, if the economy is not good, they might want to go. You know, it's really a very complex model.
Right. Always forward thinking here, the professional staff. If we do go to or are able to announce maybe an online format, are there plans for an aggressive marketing campaign for local and distance learners to kind of change our admission marketing to attract more students to UB for the fall?
So we are already marketing. Actually, I think this week we started the social media marketing quite a bit, and we always market. I mean, we are also targeting our region here as well, and we will do the marketing, and most of that is going to be through whatever they watch, Netflix or Hulu or whatever channel they watch, and YouTube, and we definitely will be doing marketing. We have done national marketing for our reputation and so on NPR before, but this year we are more concentrating, especially now. This month is going to be critical, this and next month. But right now, as I said, most of the institutions are talking about we would be open. They're not saying exactly what, and we would be open. In what form is really what we need to define.
Right.
If I had to make a guess, it would be some hybrid form. Maybe the large classes will be online with some level of, maybe there could be classes where it's hybrid. It's online, you can come on Monday, another set of people can come on Tuesday, those kinds of things, and there are a lot of possibilities, and many of you are involved in looking at that actually. So there would be a lot of different models, and this is no different from every university, as I told you. Every major university is thinking the same thing.
Right. A few other questions coming in. One of the questions, do you feel staff might be asked to return to campus shortly after the May 15th pause New York to maybe get things ready for whatever the fall semester might look like?
If it is safe to return, and if we are cleared by the local health officials and what restrictions are there, definitely, and that would probably gives us a chance to see how we operate on the campus. The students won't be here. So it would all depends on what messages we get from our Erie County health officials, we get from SUNY and the state.
And who do we take much direction, or how much direction do we take from Erie County as opposed to the state, as opposed to,
Tim,
Governor?
I mean, Erie County is where we are. We are located in Erie, and we have a very good relationship.
Excellent.
We actually, that they use our model for predictions. I mean, this is really all UB model. And Dr. Bernstein is on our faculty. So really, and we have excellent relationship with the, some of our sister institutions don't have the same, but we definitely have fantastic relationship, and we follow their guidelines. I mean, they are really the local health officials on the ground here, so we follow their guidelines.
Excellent. I know when we all watch the news or we watch the governor's talk, things change from moment to moment. The next sort of stimulus package is talking about money to the states, and we would hope that would be money for SUNY as well. Is there any policy from the university? Is there any advocacy to ask our federal representatives to support stimulus money for the college campuses? And what should we be doing as professionals, or what could we be doing?
Definitely, in fact, even today, we are talking to our elected officials. SUNY has talked, we want to give the same message. We don't want sort of messages that are on 20 different directions, and our goal would be to get the direct money to the institutions, but also to the states separately, and that's what and we'll be working with our elected officials, definitely, and that's really the goal, because that no matter what format we open in the fall, we still need help, and probably for a little bit to survive and to thrive.
We would gladly help push that message if there is a unified message to our members, and we could get that out individually as well. So we definitely do that. Along that line, with our preparation for our Strive for 25 resolution for you, any areas that you felt we could best make a difference in our rise up in these rankings as professional staff?
Wherever we rise, I mean, you always make a difference. I mean, this is how the campus operates. I mean, we can't survive without the professional staff that's here, whether it's really working with our students. As you know, this year we got multiple awards of our undergraduate students, and that won't be possible without work that goes on, that you all work, the students' research that happens, the faculty running their research programs, and writing their proposals and all that. The support that you provide is what it takes to 25. I mean, there's no other message really.
Okay, great. Other questions from our group? I think I've tried to triage as best I can here, and we have the president for a few more moments. Seeing none, Dr. Tripathi, any parting words for us here?
No, again, I want to thank you. It's a great institution, and there might be a little bit of bump there, but we are still moving forward in the direction that we're moving. So again, I want to thank you all, and happy rest of the meeting. Happy Zooming.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our first forum. If you would like, either through the Zoom chat box now or an email to the Professional Staff Senate, let us know what other speakers you might like to hear from in the upcoming month, and we'll try and set up a similar meeting or two for the month of May. Until then, please be safe, keep working hard, and hope to see you all soon in person.